Slow down here.
Hey everybody, this is Atticus, the Death Metaller, and welcome to another longly awaited episode of the Deathmetaller Reviews. Here in this episode, we are going to be reviewing Me and That Man's debut release, Songs of Love and Death. Before we touch up onto the review, let us go on a little backstory on Me and That Man and its inception, now shall we? Now, it is no stranger that I am a humongous fan of the Polish blackened death metal band Behemoth. In fact, I'm wearing a Behemoth shirt right now, so hence why I'm making this review. And I look at Nergal as one of my favorite inspirational metal musicians. But as of late 2016 to early 2017, I was a bit curious and really interested in hearing about a new musical project that Nergal was in the works with. A country blues side project that he had been at the works for some time. Me and That Man was the project's name. Sort of a blues type band that he called it. And he wasn't the only one to have made a side project out of his comfort zone of this year. David Vincent! So when I heard about Nergal's side project, Me and That Man, you can quite tell I was quite curious. And when I was browsing at the album store, I stumbled upon it, bought it, and jammed out with it. And so far, it inspired me to make this review. So with that said, let's begin with the review of Songs of Love and Death now, shall we? Songs of Love and Death was produced by none other than Nergal himself, and Me and That Man comprises of our Lord and Savior, Nergal himself, who does guitars and vocals. The other important band member in Me and That Man is John Porter, who is guitars and vocals. He's a British musician, and two Polish native musicians by the names of Wojciech Mazowiecki, who is bass and double bass, and Lukas Kumanski, who does drums and percussion. Now, why is it that Nergal would do such a getting out of his comfort zone and doing something he's not familiar with, as in a blues band? Well, you have to understand that when Black Sabbath, the first metal band that came about, first started off as a band, they were originally a blues band. So blues kinda was an important genre that birthed metal as we know it. So pretty much Me and That Man is a blues band that has a lot of blues influences and a lot of the usual anti-religious stuff that Nergal talks about into 99.9% of all of his Behemoth songs. But enough of that, let us talk about some of the songs that I chose that were really interesting and what I think about them. So let's get to it now, shall we? Now the first song on this list is the number one track, My Church is Black, and for me this is like a really good beginning track for this album. It's as blues as you can fucking get with this track. Nergal stated onto this track saying that he picked the song as the first single and opening track off the record. This song is a statement, it's a new energy exploring new dimensions of the genre I've not known before. But somehow naturally the song builds a bridge between these two worlds. The radical scene where I originally come from to this new domain full of shadows and question marks. Yet the trip is highly exciting and inspirational. And I find that, a really good statement onto Nergal's, how he made Me and That Man. And I think a lot of metalheads should be very open-minded onto exploring new types of music, unlike the elitists that plague upon the metal community. And I find that, a trait that I look up to as well, and that's how I was drawn to Me and That Man in the first place. Now, how do I view this song in general? How do I feel about this song, and what does it mean to me? Now, how I felt about this song, it is the most bluesed song off of this album, and it's not really my favorite, but we'll get to my favorite song at this very moment. But how I view about this song, it feels like I am walking into a saloon in the deep south, like for instance Kentucky, Tennessee, smack in the middle of my home state Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, all those states. It is like you're going into there and you see, like, you know, the old timers here, the regulars just drinking beer, playing pool, and it's just like the most bluest shit you could ever get. But have a listen and think about it yourself.
My church is black, my blood runs cold. The sun don't shine for me no more. For me no more.
The next song on our list is the song Better the Devil I Know. Now, this is a typical dark blues themed song. It's basically the song details on a person that was born, his mom was a witch and his father was the moon, had no future, and then made an offer to a man by the name of Robert Johnson, and therefore it was basically him playing for the devil in a sense. It's a really I would describe a bit of country in some parts. There's some fiddle played onto some parts of the song. It's pretty good, has some female vocals in the song, but I would say it's a pretty generic but also a really good blues song in the sense. So have a listen. The next song on this list is the track of Sirens, Vampires, and Lovers. And when I first heard of this song, I shit you not, I was thinking, the first thought in my head when I first heard the song was True Blood. Now, I've seen True Blood in a couple of episodes on a couple of seasons, but I've never really been invested into True Blood. But overall in time, since I have Netflix, if Mean Dunglethorpe actually does fuck up net neutrality for good, I would definitely rewatch a lot of episodes off of True Blood, because I do know for a fact that True Blood is a really awesome show. But we're not talking about True Blood, we are talking about Me and That Man. Now, of Sirens, Vampires, and Lovers, it really makes me think I'm out somewhere in the deep of the night in the bayou, and, you know, all of a sudden some really creepy ass voodoo-like sirens or shit are like trying to seduce me, and then like I fall into their spell, and then I die a drowny, watery death or some shit. That's what I was just like thinking about this song. But it's a slow song, really chill song to say the least, but I liked it. I really liked it, and it's a song that, you know, really does calm you down in some ways. But have a listen.
She said, come to me. I dreamt you were a vampire.
We have 2 songs to go, so we are almost done with this review. The next song on our list is the song Ain't Much Loving. And, you know, I can relate to this song in so many ways, because we've dealt with heartbreak in the past, and it's tough. And it's really tough for a lot of people to go through it after breaking up, after losing a loved one, or just anything in general. But the other vibe that I get from this song, and this is how I feel personally, with all the shit going on across the world where there's so much hatred and a lot of identity politics in the way, and this goes for both the regressive left and the alt-right and just everything in general, and just a lot of people just losing their ballistic shit over the dumbest shit and just adding their own fuel to the fire. And in many ways, we've forgotten how to love again. And, you know, it explains with this song. There isn't much loving going around, and somehow we just need a little bit more love to just pass around, or just love in general. I mean, I understand that the whole world is fucked up since day one, but you know, we need a little bit of love to just patch it all back together in some sense. You know, many would say that I'm just a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. No pun intended. But you know, somehow we gotta try and just get the fuck along together in some sense. And that is how I view with this song. That and just, you know, people dealing with heartbreak in general. And dealing with heartbreak is such a fucking bitch to deal with.
Mama, I'm gone. I must find a place to rest my spirit where I can sit it more. Mama, I'm leaving. Mama, I'm gone. Nothing can fix my broken soul, so I hit an empty road.
And a final song on our list, Cross My Heart and Hope to Die. And this is without a doubt my favorite song off of this album. It tales a person that has lost his faith and is wondering on what to believe and what not to believe. And I can relate to the story very personally. If you all do recall, I was brought up in a Catholic family and I was pretty hardcore Catholic up on my youth up until I reached college. And during late 2012, that's when I pretty much lost my religion and I turned to atheism at that time. And at that moment was a time where I was that one atheist that thought that atheism is the norm, should be the norm, and is like the greatest thing ever, and all religions suck. But as I've gotten out of college, I've slowly but surely, and I do believe that I have now become agnostic. My views on religion is that yes, all religions do have some bad apples, a ton of apples. Without a doubt, Christianity and Islam and Judaism all have a lot of fucked up things within their belief system. But it does not mean that every one of those people that believe in that stuff is bad. Yes, I do say that Islam is cancer, and without a doubt, it needs a lot of reformations. It is one of the 3 religions that needs a lot of fucking changing up. I could say the same with Christianity. Christianity has gone through a lot, but it still needs a bit more work to handle. But in the sense, there are good people that believe in something, and then there are people that don't believe anything that are good people. And not necessarily, you don't have to be a good person to believe in a religion, and you don't have to be a righteous and good person to believe in nothing. There is anybody in this world that believes in something and does not believe something that are good people. And in a sense, it is, in my personal story, me trying to find out what to believe and what not to believe in. And I could see that with the song Cross My Heart and Hope to Die. And it's a very personal song for me in some sense, because it shows how I've viewed religion my whole life and how I view atheism and agnosticism and just a bunch of other belief systems in general. And that's just the vibe that I've gotten with this song. And I do really like the instrumentals with this song, especially with the twitching and the spreading of ashes with the percussion into the song. That's what I like most about this song. In general, this is a very powerful song, and it has to deal with, you know, religion in general. And I think, you know, it's mostly with all of our experiences for how we've dealt with religion in the sense.
I don't wear no crown of thorns. Well, you know I never pray. I won't offer no salvation. I was born to raise some hell. I will get away with murder. I will get away with crime.
In drawing conclusions for me and that man's songs of love and death, this is a pretty good debut onto Nergals Blues project band. And, you know, I think that most metal musicians need to really step out of their comfort zone and try something new. Much like David Vincent. But we're not talking about David Vincent. That might be another review for another time next year. But how do I feel about this album? How do I feel about this project that Nergal's doing? I think it's really interesting. I think it's really cool that Nergal's stepping out of its comfort zone, and I think a lot of metal musicians need to try it sometime. Some of the lyrics, the lyrical writing, it's a little bit, I couldn't get with it. Sounds a little bit too generic, but in some of the songs I could relate to, and some songs that, you know, should have had a little bit more working with. But I really love the music behind Me and That Man, and that's what really pushes it with with this side project. And I am hoping that Nergal actually works more with this along with Behemoth if he has the time. And yeah, Songs of Love and Death gets a 7 out of 10 for this review. So, what are your thoughts on To Me and That Man? If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you do. What were your thoughts on it? Leave it down on the comment section below. I am very interested in hearing on what you have to say about Me and That Man's Songs of Love and Death. Without further ado, ladies and gents, I am Atticus, the Death Metaller. Hope you like this video. Subscribe to my channel. Links are in the description below. Keep it metal. Have a wonderful day.